At the time of my last video about Heroes Con, Shane Davis released audio of what was alleged to be an encounter between himself and Dan Fraga the day after the attempted deadly handshake. Before we get into that, I wanted to read some of the comments of my last video because they were very telling on how people in the CG circle dismiss receipts and information. For example, this person said, "So Fraga shook Shane's hand the day before. Does he really walk around the cons every day shaking everyone's hands? No, because it's weird." Then there's Smillers videoing it, and for what reason? To bully Shane. Then there is a recording of Fraga screaming at Shane saying, "I'm going to F you up." Yeah, this is insane bullying from an unhinged, guilt-ridden loser being a psycho. If recording is a form of bullying, why did this person ignore EVS encouraging the recording of Eric July at the Dallas Expo? Why no comment on that? Also, Shane released the audio as I had just finished editing my last video. I could have added that audio on the video, but it would have added another 5 minutes, plus a couple more hours of editing, commentary, etc. I decided if I was going to address it, it would have to be its own video, because I had a hunch the feedback by CG would invoke memory hole in their encouragement of Eric July being harassed at the Dallas Expo, as well as Shane committing simple assault on a sleeping homeless man. And sure enough, the response has been right on brand with Comicsgate. Also, many have forgotten that Shane Davis indeed did give Fraga the invitation to come up to him to talk at the con. We're going to get into that. More comments like this that stated that Shane wanted nothing to do with Fraga and should have had his wishes respected. But commenters like this continue to support the harassment of Eric July at cons despite Eric's wishes to be left alone. You see, this isn't about justifying one man's actions by pointing out the sins of the other. The key takeaway that many viewers and commenters have noted is the hypocrisy of those whining about being bullied. Before we get into the Shane audio, it's important to document why Comicsgate continues to harass Eric July at cons and speaking events, and why they enjoy making content out of it. A video that was clipped and taken out of context shows Eric July telling his critics to, quote-unquote, pull up.
Because the fact that people ain't pulling up, I don't understand that. I'm giving y'all where I'm at, not hiding behind a fucking microphone and a camera. Like, I'm giving you where I'm at. Let's hash it out. Let's talk about it. Let's be men. Let's do confrontation.
This clip shared around in the CG circle has been the justification by Comicsgaters for having people disrupt Eric's events or interrupt his sessions with fans at cons and events. Eric did release more clips from that stream to show further context of what he meant by pulling up.
Man, ain't nobody fucking about to go fight no motherfucker with no YouTube, man. Come on. Well, who you think I am? You? I abide by the non-aggression principle. These are words. I might not like what it is you say, but I won't punch you in the face for it. And so they think it's funny, and they think because, well, they're on a crusade, well, it's fine. Okay, I can do it. I can try to ruin these guys' businesses. I can claim they're frauding people. I can try to do all of that stuff, and it's okay because they think they're on a crusade fighting the bigots and the fascists and the racists and the misogynists. Like, they make up crusades. You can disagree with me all day long, but you don't lie, right? You shouldn't have to lie. You don't like me, fine. But you shouldn't have to lie and say I'm saying things or I have positions that I don't. I think looking a person in the eye and like it ain't on some like, hey, I'm gonna slap you type. No, it's not gonna happen. I'm talking about I'm gonna have a conversation with them because I think when you look someone in the eye, they can understand like it's not cool. These people think this stuff is funny. They think they can try to ruin the lives of people. They act like they care about harassment when that's all they have done to my company and myself, and it's not me playing the victim. It's just what it is. Like you have no desire to actually hear people out honestly. None of these guys do.
The term pull-up simply means to stop by. It doesn't always have an aggressive connotation to it. Many have ran with the term pull-up as defined with the intent to fight, ignoring many times Eric has stated he meant this as simply means to come say hi and engage as fans of the Rippaverse. For even further context, the clips came from a stream in which he debated organized chaos, or as Eric July called him, a confused individual.
You had certainly have had, let's say that, interesting things to say about me. You called me or likened me. You said I seem like a dumbass. You've also called me a piece of shit. True. As well. So, by the way, just before we get started, do you ever go to cons like Comic Cons or anything like that?
If I get a chance to, I do.
Okay. Just throwing this out there before we get started. Any event that I happen to be at one of those, and you happen to be there as well. Let's just make sure that we link up and we kind of chop it up about kind of some of those comments. So you fat, out of shape, and you white. Don't go around. I would advise you not do that. Go around talking about black people, saying that they have issues with themselves. I would not make it a habit if I were you. Considering that you ain't built for that level of action, I would not advise.
What is that a threat?
Never done anything athletic, and he talking sideways. Like I said, like he's got to see me anyway. Don't let me go to a con and his motherfucking ass is there. He has to see me. Right? And I ain't saying I'm gonna knock his ass out. He's like, is that a threat? Like, ain't nobody threatening you, motherfucker. We already know you can't whoop my ass. That's not what the dispute is. I'm saying we gotta have a discussion, and there might be someone that's a lot less patient than me.
So when Eric was talking about the guy pulling up, he was referring to organized chaos on a stream that went live February 5th, 2023. Riley or the other detractors weren't even a factor against the Riververse at the time. But this doesn't matter to Comicsgate. It was a justification to encourage disruption and harassment wherever Eric July went. The real messed up thing about this is that during my time in Comicsgate, I defended CG against the SJWs who claimed it was about harassment and causing disruption in public events. After 2023, the SJWs unfortunately were right. Now we get to the audio recording of Shane and Dan Fraga. It should be noted that Ethan Van Sciver, John Malin, and the rest of the CG elite spent the better part of a year calling Phil Diaz Phone Tap Phil, and how he was wrong for making a recording of a conversation of EVS in which EVS admitted Mandy Summers was using sexuality to get ahead with CG creators. I don't make this point to say that Shane was wrong to make the recording. He wasn't. Nothing wrong with keeping receipts. I defend Shane Davis's right to make a recording to provide a receipt as much as I defend Phil Diaz, or rather his girlfriend, making a recording of a conversation with Ethan to also provide receipts. And for the record, the person who recorded the phone call with Ethan is protected by federal law, so there was no crime committed there. I point this out again because of the hypocrisy of Comicsgate. Rules for thee. So after the attempted deadliest handshake in mankind's history, Yanzi Lin and Shane Davis put out tweets attacking Dan Fraga's character and claiming they were unsafe with him. Mind you, neither Lin nor Davis made any such allusions to anyone supporting the harassment of Eric July. Sunday, June 22nd, the last day of Heroes Con, Fraga and Davis had a confrontation.
Whatever issues I thought I had with Dan Fraga, I thought they were dealt with at the other con. Sunday at 11:30 with me trying to set up, Dan left Billy Tucci's table and then came to my table to really have a confrontation. Now, what's going to play here is the snippet of the audio from the confrontation. And the reason I'm having issues with this is I basically had to ask people not to call security on Dan after this.
You guys keep making your bullshit content that doesn't exist.
Right, okay.
I'm being aggressive with you now. You can totally fucking make content out of this. tell people I called you a fucking cunt. Because I'm calling you a cunt.
Everything's documented, dude. It's
I don't
fine.
care. You're a fucking cunt.
Okay, everything's
documented. What you did was wrong.
Okay.
What you did was wrong, Shane.
Okay.
Yeah, believe it.
Dan, here's my read.
Here's your read. What is it?
My read is my wife didn't come because of the shit you pulled.
Shit I pulled. What shit did I pull?
I'm going to see you at a con.
Okay, and then you saw me be very peaceful in SC.
She doesn't come to these cons.
No, whatever. Don't talk about your wife. You actually disrespect your wife every night with your streams, guys.
Okay, well anyways, you see all these books here?
They're beautiful.
Yeah, and whose names are on them? Both. No. Okay, and guess who's not coming?
Shane?
Okay.
What are you trying to do, though?
I'm not trying to do anything.
Guess what? My kids aren't here because
Well, dude, I mean, where's your crowdfunding books on your table, man?
I'm gonna fuck you up.
Hey,
what's gonna happen?
What's going on?
What's gonna happen?
Hey, how are you?
What is gonna happen after the book comes out?
I was gonna talk to him for a little bit.
You okay, Dan? No, I'm not safe. You can stand right there, Dan. You can stand right there.
Some terrible stuff last night. Fuck you.
A few points about this audio. First, Shane confessed it was a snippet, which means there was more that wasn't played. Does it affect the context? We don't know. Second, while Shane mentioned his wife doesn't go to cons because of this, Fraga also stated the same for his kids. It should be noted that while Fraga uploaded a video with his kids in which they uttered the word throat goat, a term that Jesse from Pod Awful used to describe Ethan Van Sciver, it didn't take long for weird perverts to make puppet videos out of his kids and have them say rather hideous things through the use of vocal AI. A puppet video Ethan Van Sciver plays on his Trashcast streams. Also, how did Shane Davis know to bring a recorder that Sunday? Did he bait Dan Fraga into a confrontation? Some have noted that that is indeed what happened, that between the exaggerated tweets between himself and Yanzi about being unsafe with Fraga, and Shane possibly calling Fraga over, that Dan fell into a trap.
Actually, wait a second. Now that I'm actually setting this up in my head, did Shane Davis actually plan this out and plan to wiretap this situation? Because, what, did he leave his hotel room, go to the store and buy, like, some setup to wire and record himself?
No, he probably planned this for months. He planned this for months. Yeah.
Interesting.
Fraga is clearly heard saying he wants to F up Davis. Fraga confirmed the intent of this without a doubt. He also conceded he was baited into this confrontation, which would seem to confirm suspicions that this was planned.
Okay, so there's a reason I asked Dan to quit telling people you're going to have a man-to-man conversation, because, you know, people are going to read into it. That's that. I asked him, you guys can go look at Kings. I asked him, do me a favor between now and then. Quit saying that. He's like, okay, but I am talking man-to-man. Even before I even came on Kings that night, and people will say, he came in, where's John, where's Shane? But according to Dan, that was started by Ethan with the subject of the draw stream. And one thing I noticed is Dan's being provoked every step of the way. So if there's something that maybe Dan shouldn't have said, it's because this person said it, or he feels that way.
Shane acknowledges a trait or a flaw in Fraga's character in that he responds when he feels provoked. Did Shane know this when he and Yanzi put out those tweets attacking Fraga's character? Shane also has a history of provoking fights with creators and even daring them to meet him in person for a throwdown. Consider this clip where he threatens to fight Patrick Thomas Parnell of Riot Press Comics.
Me and him had a fallout right before it because he was trying to get me to go on. He was even trying to get me to live stream, and I'm like, no. He's like, well, why don't you come on this? And I'm like, dude, just shut the fuck up and chill.
That's
and
right.
he goes, when's the last time somebody called you a bitch?
What? Why is he like that?
I said, all right, in Tampa you get 2 free shots.
Oh right, yeah, you were.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, how dare you think I want to fist fight you? I'm like, well, you just said you called me. When's the last time somebody called you a bitch? And you want to shake my hand like a man or see me face to face. I'm like, that's fighting word. He's like, I didn't mean that. I'm like, look, I punch people all the time I'm friends with.
Remember, CG used the out of context Eric July clip as justification for harassing him at events. Should the same metric be applied to Shane Davis here? This is simply me asking. Here is another clip where he gives Fraga the invitation to walk up to him and talk at the con.
Here until April, there's no reason to go out here and talk about big manning conversations. Just walk up to me like you did at Heroes and you can talk to me. You don't need to announce that. You can just walk up to me.
Great.
Okay.
Again, referring back to CG metrics, Shane laid the stipulations that you can walk to him at cons. The same metric CG applies to Eric July.
It's okay because the faucet's turned on, the cash faucet's turned on. Then it's really convenient to be friends with Bully John. But the second, I guess, it's convenient, then you grab your shin, you lay down on the ground like, oh, my pussy hurt. Oh, John's a bully. He's a bully. My pussy hurt. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, has anybody ever put together, most of the people that called John a fucking bully have either tried to monetize him or go on his channel to monetize his fucking fan base? It's like, you can't have it both ways.
This is the truest point Shane Davis made. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot say Shane was bullied by a handshake at Heroes Con while having fun seeing Eric July getting harassed at the Dallas Expo and other events. If Ethan had said from the get-go that what happened to Eric July at Dallas Expo was wrong and should be discouraged, and that it was bad for selling comics and growing an organized fan base, then his concern over Shane Davis would be valid, because he was being consistent. But that isn't what happened. Ethan Van Sciver and his circle celebrates his competition getting harassed because it makes him money. The point of this video isn't to win any converts over. It's simply to document the facts of the situation, to document Comicsgate's pattern of con harassment and justification of it while playing victim when the smallest of table is turned on them. This isn't about whataboutism. It's about highlighting gross hypocrisy. And my advice to Dan Fraga, forget all the shenanigans, forget talking to Shane, Ethan, and Malin, and just concentrate on finishing Black Flag. You have one goal this year, and that's to finally finish that book and fulfill it. Everything else is unnecessary noise. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.